Days of relying on one single country to manufacture your products or to source are gone. In 2026, large SME and MNC are implementing resilience in their supply chain, meaning that they are looking at more than just China plus one, for example. They are also looking at diversifying and making their procurement operations more resilient and more sustainable. In today's video, we are analyzing the report made from a reputable agency asking thousands of professionals and industry leaders in the supply chain and procurement industry to understand about the in and outs and how companies are right now positioning and preparing themselves in 2026. If you don't know about ourselves, we are MoveToAsia, a leading sourcing agency in Asia with a strong focus on Vietnam. We can take on projects such as OEM or ODM, so helping foreign companies, mostly SME, to take on the procurement and manufacturing operation in the region. We are very strong with Vietnam, and right now this country is the most promising destination for China plus one strategy. But as I said earlier, you shouldn't think about only one country outside of China if China is your main production market at the moment. But you should think about diversifying and bringing more resilience, and for this we have strategic partners across all Asia to help assess the current production capacities and then the availability in a key market, and also help with our underground operational team from the ramp up to the production to all the different challenges that we have to tackle along the way. So let's come back to this report that I introduced earlier and we're going to analyze in this video. We are talking about PROLOGIS and the Harris Poll 2026, asking 1,800 senior executives based in different countries such as the US, UK, Australia, Germany, India, Mexico, and other markets. And when you look at those data, this study is actually one of the most comprehensive one that brings you drivers to know how you can proactively take decisions or build up a more resilient operation worldwide. So first thing, obviously, a large SME and MNC are taking into consideration is this matter of resilience. Is my supply chain resilient and sustainable for the long run? And obviously, 2024, 2025 have been disrupting years, creating a lot of volatility on the supply chain. And then obviously for 2026, the risks are for 55%, according to this survey, economic volatility, 48% of chance that there could be tariff and trade barriers, geopolitical instability by 38% of the people participating on this survey, and finally, cyber security threats among 38% of the people answering this survey. These numbers show that economic and political risks are no longer peripheral, but they are part of the new normal. Unsurprisingly, 77% of companies surveyed are building or implementing regional self-sufficient networks, so basically looking outside of their current production market, and the goal obviously is to reduce resilience on a single country of production or on their origin, and placing production, warehousing or distribution hubs closer to their main market or diversifying the risk. Also, one interesting fact is about the reasons why these shifts are clear. According to the survey, energy reliability has become the most important factor in selecting factory locations for 40% of the people surveyed, surpassing labor cost considerations. We are not looking only at a market that provides cheaper labor, but also, okay, how is it resilience, and also with the matter of energy reliability. This is the first time for decades that this stability outweighs the costs. Now, what about the second criteria from this survey? It's about speed. People are now looking at implementing supply chain that can also offer scalability and speed in terms of implementation. You can go to a very far market, but if it takes months or years to implement a sustainable supply chain, then that's not worth it. But if you are choosing one market that things can go very fast, then okay, you win. And obviously here, speed isn't just simple as shortest lead time, but it's also the ability to maintain steady production even when markets are fluctuating or disruption occurs. And the lessons behind this is that delays directly impact competitiveness of companies. And according to this survey, 75% of companies pursue regionalization strategies. And the goal obviously is to shorten transport time, increase responsiveness, and reduce disruption risks. And at this 2026 era, speed has become more than just a competitive advantage, but also a strategic asset, especially as demands become more volatile and product lives shorten. Now, another interesting thing from this survey is about the flexibility. And this is also one criteria that large SMEs and MNCs are looking for when they are moving production for sourcing purpose or for outsourced manufacturing reasons. The idea is what? Is that when you have a diversified supply chain in place, and when you have backup plan, as soon as you have volatility with logistics, freight, policy changing, or geopolitical instability, you can smoothly pivot your strategy and get a different production center, taking care of the most of your manufacturing outputs. And according to this study, shifting from one country sourcing to multi-node sourcing is now the dominant trend, and companies are not longer thinking for the best country, but the best networks of countries for manufacturing purpose. Flexibility obviously leads with cost optimization because you can move your production to lower cost countries, speed optimization because you can increase capacity in markets that are closer to consumers, and then quality and tech optimizations, obviously now with all the AI and the tech integrating in manufacturing system, you can produce in specialized factories that are more competitive or more suitable on the larger scale. So finally, as a wrap-up of this study and data collected from 1.8 thousand global executives, it sends a clear signal that right now resilience means no disruption, speed means no delays, and flexibility means no dependency on one single country. Obviously, in 2026, market leaders will have to build more multi-country strategies, multi-layered strategy within one country, and providing a more resilient supply chain capable of operating smoothly in high-risk environments. And this is the foundations of the new way of sourcing and outsourcing manufacturing in 2026. Now, to provide a benchmark about what are the most suitable destinations for you, we've been breaking down the different trends and opportunities, as well as the risks and challenges, countries by country, so you get a clear roadmap about what are the countries that you can put into your checklist and make sure that they are suitable for your own product category. And obviously, this is not eligible for all product categories, but there are usually 4 countries that are on the map that you should consider to start understanding and assessing the manufacturing capabilities. Those big 4 in Southeast Asia are Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. Let's start by Vietnam. Vietnam offers competitive labor, and it remains the most suitable destination for China Plus One strategy regarding to the labor-intensive production. While logistic costs are usually higher than in China, the workforce still has significant skills in general manufacturing. It has also a quite vast industry and logistics infrastructure, meaning that with the 3 different clusters in Vietnam, from the south in Ho Chi Minh City area to the central part of Vietnam, Da Nang area, and then the top north, you have usually 3 different clusters, very well branded and equipped with a large subcontracting networks to not only do assembly, but also looking to get more and more raw materials. It also finally linked to all those logistic matters with key ports that are located in 3 parts of country that make also all the supply chain and the shipping line efficient and smooth. Finally, we have a growing evolution in Vietnam. Every year there is a lot of foreign direct invested zone from US, but not only, it can be companies from Asia. Obviously, you have a lot of South Korean companies, you will have Japanese companies, you have Taiwanese companies, but you also have a more and more well-developed network of European companies or also US invested companies in Vietnam. Now, what about the risks and the challenges that are mostly present in Vietnam? Again, I pointed earlier, it's about the logistic costs that are higher than in China. Most of the raw material will be also imported, so very often the end price of the end product output might be more expensive than in China, especially for a production that require less human workforce and more machine. And finally, you have also tariff in place. So you have to look at what are the end country, and then depending where you are exporting, you may have some tariff in place, especially for the US market. And regarding high-tech, it's also not the most suitable country at the moment. If we are looking at electronic, especially all the trend of semiconductors, etc., other countries are more in advance, also related to automation. Thailand or Malaysia should be more seen as more promising or at least advanced destination. So finally, Vietnam, what we can call the best bang for the buck at the moment, low cost, scalable production, and then the long-term resilience, making Vietnam an interesting player to consider first to see if your production can be moved out there. And obviously, with its strategic location next to China, it's also easy to move part of the production and to benefit from all the ecosystem that is in China already, and to see what are some of the raw materials can be imported directly from Vietnam border. Countries number 2, we have Malaysia. Right now, this is a high quality workforce that are there. They are better in English proficiency and also skilled labor in some key industries which are very suitable for high-tech and high-quality production. Obviously, a lot of automation as well. This country has been already investing a lot 20, 30, 40 years ago in advanced machinery and also high-tech segments. So obviously now they are ahead and then leading all this semiconductor trend and what is going on in electronics. The infrastructure are also very stable with strong ports, strong warehouses, and international transport connectivities, making it easy as well for export purpose. Finally, the risk and then the challenges might be a higher cost of labor compared to Vietnam, limited rapid scalability. In terms of the risk and the challenges, we may see a slightly higher labor cost for the blue collars in Malaysia comparing to Vietnam. Limited rapidity of scale. It takes a bit longer when you are moving production to Malaysia that it could be in Vietnam. And then also some policy risks, utilities, taxes, and operating costs can also rise more unexpectedly comparing to Vietnam. But again, as a strategic solution, Malaysia suits for high-tech, high-quality production and automated facilities. It's also a good place to consider it as a +1 compared to your current supply chain in Asia. Now, as the third country, we have Thailand. Obviously, they are known for automotive, mechanical, component production with skilled workforce suitable for complex manufacturing. They have also a strong logistic infrastructure with very well developed roads, ports, and warehousing solutions across the country. And they have also quite large industrial hubs and a lot of government incentive in strategic sectors. The risk and challenges will be a higher cost compared to Vietnam, limited rapidity in scales as well, and also tariffs that are also in place with certain countries. Finally, 4th country on the list, we have Indonesia. With the current dynamics and situations of this country, it may not be always the first one to consider. If you are looking at consumer goods, textile, footwear, outdoor furniture, that can be a good player. If you are looking at quite high-tech type of products, it may not be the best one. Obviously, they have natural resources like rubber, metal support for raw material productions. So in some key sectors as well, that's a country to consider. And in terms of the production cost, it's also quite low compared to the markets we previously discussed. Risk and challenges, obviously, this is a very fragmented archipel of islands. So obviously for the transport, it will be more expensive. And if you have different hubs to manufacture part of your products, obviously the end price of your manufacturing output will be more expensive than in the other markets. And finally, in terms of all the modern equipment for manufacturing, they are still lagging and struggling. So basically, it won't be a country to consider for such high-tech and high complexity of projects. But again, there is a cheap labor that is there. So it's always a matter of seeing if your product category match with what Indonesia can do and can do well, and see if you have a match. So I hope this gives you a good indication about which country to consider if you are looking at China +1. So looking at diversifying your current supply chain for both sourcing and outsourcing manufacturing. Again, in 2026, because resilience will be key, you'll be looking at more than just one country. So implementing a geographic understanding and assessment about what are the manufacturing capabilities in the region, cross-checking different parameters, and then also seeing and assessing the capabilities of one single product category in one market will be key to see also which one is the most potential fit and which one can also last and be built among the years. And now finally, how to make that plan happen and diversifying your current supply chain. The first thing is getting one person or one team in one country that will be able to assess and make you understand if this is the right match for you. We are very used to taking on such project in terms of assessing the capabilities for different product categories. So obviously starting with one professional to do all the scouting, so looking at the best potential suppliers for your needs, taking care of all the requirements. It can be, certificates, but it can also be operational capabilities that are right now in place in one strategic country. You need to be scouting and then benchmarking the available supplier, obviously conducting audits and also seeing how, commercially speaking, that makes sense. When you are relying a lot of imported material, the end price of the output may be more expensive than what you have, for instance, right now in China, but it's also a matter of looking at it for the long run. Vietnam, for instance, is getting more and more locally made raw materials. So of course, if you are looking at a 10 years time frame, you will have maybe right now a product that will cost you $1 because part of the material is imported, but maybe that product in 5-10 years, if you are getting more and more raw material available in country, that you can get a discount, maybe 80 cents or 70 cents in a 10-year period. Finally, also getting a team in country that is able to understand deeply your technical needs and manage your operation locally is key for a successful project. You have obviously that scouting part at the beginning to identify the supplier, auditing them. Usually we conduct joint visits, so we take our clients with us to visit the premises of the different factories and meet with key representative of each factory. But after that, you need also to think about all the operational, all the QC and all the wrapping up that you may have into launching a production in a different market. So quality control, inline inspections and final inspection are also key to make that project a success for your company. Finally, companies are also looking sometimes to invest themselves. So they may be looking at building and then outsourcing to a specific supplier part of that production, but others are also looking at investing themselves, so setting up their own factory in the country. And we are also used to this to understand where are the potential locations, to doing basically location search, taking care all of the requirements of building one product, so also looking at the cost level, looking at the availability of subcontractors in a certain zone, and then proximity to the ports, among a lot of different factors, to make sure that, okay, that client will invest at the right location in Vietnam. So hopefully this video was insightful and provided you some good indications about where you can diversify your current supply chain. Now, if you are still here on the video and if you are interested in learning more about one single market to diversify your current supply chain or building it from scratch, you can reach out to us. We are very happy to discuss one-to-one to understand about your problems, what is your current situation, and what is your plan into implementing such a manufacturing or sourcing activity in Asia. We are very happy to assist SME or MNC to understand if Vietnam is the right country for them, how they can assess the capabilities of different manufacturing countries around, and also see which one is the best fit. And when they choose and they identify the best market, how they can start to vet supplier, audit them, meet them face to face, and build up their production in this country. If you want to learn more about product and services, I will leave below in the description more details about us. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll answer you fast. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Down and I'ma get it right. Dead on sight like